Hey, everybody, and welcome to the DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel. Russ and Addison here again, as always, and other things that make it known that we do this a lot. To use dynastyleaguefootball.com, its Trade Finder, its Trade Analyzer, and anything else we feel like using while we're talking. Usually just ADP. That's really about all we really do. But go check it out. Subscribe. Do that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching this without being subscribed, that's silliness. That is tomfoolery. That is malarkey. Subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the bell so you get a notification every time a video goes up. YouTuber.
All the YouTube stuff.
Yes. So we are going on a journey over the next few weeks talking about players. When we first talked about it, it was like the top players at the position, and which sounded great in theory, but then we're like, are we really going to do like Allen, Mahomes, and Hurts? Because a lot of those trades are probably going to be rather similar. So it's not exactly the top players. Like, just, complete spoiler on this one. We're doing Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and CJ Stroud today. Honestly, the only reason we're doing, for me at least, two players in the top three is because Hurts' value is a little weird right now with how the season ended, with the OC just getting fired and all of that. So that's really the only reason that we have two people in that same tier for me. And then CJ Stroud being at the top-ish of that next tier, depending on how you feel, but also because he's so young and all of that, his value is pretty interesting.
Heat check.
So I killed any transitions whatsoever by telling you everything at the beginning. So let's just go, I guess. So first, we are going to talk about Josh Allen. Is Josh Allen your QB1? Do you have QB1? Or are you just like, nah, it's here?
It's here.
If you had the 101 and couldn't trade back in a superflex,
I would probably take Patrick Mahomes because it's Patrick Mahomes. But I don't, Josh Allen, I think, would be my number 2 or my 1B.
I think I take Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, he's finished QB1 for 3 years in a row now or something like that.
He's very, very good.
Very good.
Patrick Mahomes off his worst statistical season ever, so he's clearly trash now. So you're wrong in taking Mahomes.
Should be Josh Allen. Okay, I'm convinced.
There you go. See, that's what you call a friendly debate. Yep. So regardless, like all of that little joking aside, Josh Allen, top 3 quarterback, whichever 1, 2, 3 pick in a super flex lead without blinking. Yeah. So let's look at some trades involving Josh Allen to see how we feel about what it takes to get a player like that. First trade. Oh, okay. So this is a big boy trade. Well, clearly, but Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and DeAndre Swift for Jackson Smith and Jigba, the 105, and Justin Fields. Josh Allen, 977, Stephon Diggs, 349, DeAndre Swift, 230 for a total of 1555. JSN, 454, the 105, 438, Justin Fields, 422 for a total of 1314. I think we're both thinking the same thing immediately, right away.
How great is it that we have individual picks in this analyzer? That's what I was thinking.
I saw that yesterday and absolutely geeked out about it. The side with the most valuable player should not be the highest valued side.
Yeah.
that's in this actual trade, not just looking at what we just read out loud. Like that's glaring right away. And of course you could always value players and picks differently and stuff like that. But okay, so let's ask one more question before we keep going. Mm-hmm. What's Steph Diggs worth to you right now?
Honestly, so
are you paying the 111 or 112 for Steph Diggs right now?
No.
I think I'm there too. And not to say that he can't come out next year, whether for the Bills or if he divas his way out of there and ends up somewhere else, like he can't do exactly what he did last year or at the beginning of this past season. I don't believe he got less talented, and he's a good enough route runner that I don't think age will fully matter for him. So, but all of that being said, he's 30, going to be 31 for next year. His dynasty value has a cap. all of those players around that idea, except for Tyreek Hill, like the Devontae Adams, Amari Coopers, no one's really giving firsts for them anymore. I think we're at the point where they're just worth early seconds, maybe late firsts in the playoffs, or like at your trade deadline, like at when it matters.
Right. Or you get something else with like Stephon Diggs and some other win now asset for the first, you know?
Yeah. So this is kind of like what I'm trying to figure out, because clearly this isn't the kind of trade where you could say this for this, this for this, this for this. It doesn't really, like, if you're telling me Justin Fields in the 105 for Josh Allen, which feels like the closest thing you could, I'm not taking that for Josh Allen.
Nope.
Now, again, the weirdness of Justin Fields matters a little bit, but I at least firmly believe, even if it's not in Chicago, Justin Fields is starting somewhere. So sure. I'm not out on acquiring Justin Fields for my teams. But when it comes to at the cost of Josh Allen, this doesn't feel like enough at all for me. Like, this is clearly a team that is starting a rebuild. Like, they're getting off of their most expensive asset on their team, which is Josh Allen, a 30-year-old wide receiver and a 25-year-old running back, which in
old.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice, but the truth is Social Security is on its way, DeAndre. To going and getting second-year wide receiver Justin Fields, who's still on his rookie contract, and a very solid rookie pick. Again, this is one of those, in theory, I get it. In theory, maybe it's the right move.
I have been considering, would I even do those three picks or players for just Josh Allen? Like, not even talking about Stephon Diggs or DeAndre Swift in this equation. Like, Josh Allen is just such a cornerstone piece to your roster that I don't know if that's honestly enough to just sell Josh Allen. I think it should be, and especially if you're rebuilding and Josh Allen is like your only real player of that kind of level of value, and you just need to start over and start fresh. This is a good way to do that. But you know, if you're thinking about rebuilding or even thinking about continuing to compete, but you still want to get younger or get more assets that are younger, I don't think this is the way to do it. 105 is absolutely going to be another good pick. It's probably going to end up being one of Drake May, Jaden Daniels, or Malik Neighbors. Fantastic pick. But it's just, you're giving up Josh Allen. Like, I don't like to make other moves like that by giving up one of your best, if not arguably the best asset in Superflex Dynasty leagues.
I'm very curious what it would take to feel good about trading away Josh Allen. Next trade is a little bit more interesting because it's Josh Allen for the 106, 107, 108. So, like, this is always the rough part. When giving trade advice, you have to speak in generics because leagues are different, both in settings and in people inside of them. Every league is its own market, but we have to give advice, right? Like, you know, that's what we're here for. And so we would say Josh Allen, 3 firsts. And that's what this is. These aren't early. None of these are early enough to make me want to go for it. Now, what we've been saying this whole time is there are, at the base right now, knowing what we know now, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors. If you want to put Rome Odunze up there, which it seems like a lot of people do, and then Brock Bowers as a top tier, solid, very, 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 very good players in this rookie draft. We're talking 2 of the bottom of that tier, which of course you're not going to be sad about getting any of those players, but you're not getting the studly studs of the studs.
Right.
And then you're getting the top of that second tier, which you kind of feel about. Like,
and then the 108 is a drop down from Bowers and Odunze.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, at the top of that next tier, which is like, I feel like for me to take this trade, let's pretend we're keeping the 107 and 108. That first pick has to be like 102, 103 at worst.
It's got to be Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels, or if you like Drake May more, then you go.
See, I was going to say one of those quarterbacks, or if you're like, man, I still hear people saying they want Marvin Harrison Jr. 101 in Superflex leagues. Mm-hmm. So Like if you're taking that 102, yeah, you probably going to miss out on Caleb Williams, but you're getting that choice of who you want next. Or maybe someone's a big MHJ fan and they take him over Caleb and you get Caleb at 2. I'm curious to see, like, I need it to be February's ADP already. So I need the MFL rollover. I need rookies to get into the system so we can do ADP so I can see where Caleb Williams is going to fall, because
he'll probably wind up in that mess of quarterbacks that we were talking about earlier with Tua and Lawrence and Dak.
I think, especially in February where his name first shows up, he'll be first round.
Probably. Although people have started to sour on him. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Daniels ends up kind of in that range as well too. It's just weird because a lot of the quarterbacks, like I would honestly not be surprised if Drake May isn't that far behind either in overall quarterback ADP, because there's not a lot going on after that. That's guys.
Yeah. Again, it's nothing about these quarterbacks themselves. These quarterbacks are very good, but we are in a spot right now where once you get past that second tier of the Burrows, Herberts, Lamars, Strouds there now, it's like a glob, of the, I mean, even like Tua and Dak and Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, it's just like literally flip an 18-sided coin, and it doesn't necessarily matter which one of these guys you get. So why not take the shot at the rookie?
Right.
So that's going to push those rookies' values up.
And then even after those quarterbacks, like we've lost faith in Kirk Cousins because of the Achilles injury. Jared Goff is just Jared Goff.
Yeah, his value will never get high enough.
Yeah, you get into all those other kind of, weird kind of QBs that are very much just QB2s in fantasy. But some of them are older. Some of them have job security issues. Some, all of that is going to play a part into raising up the value of these quarterbacks versus veterans. But the issue with this trade, specifically bringing it all back to Josh Allen for these 3 firsts, you're not getting one of those quarterbacks.
Nope.
So that makes this, even though the analyzer said that, you're getting a 100-point difference for the picks, that's compilation, and it's not weighing out, you're not getting enough juice for, again, the best asset in superflex.
Yeah, 3 for 1, especially for literally the number 1 asset, needs to be, we'll just say, an overpay by a lot.
Honestly, you could debate all 3 of those first should probably be top 5, to where you're now taking shots on getting 3 of, 2 of the quarterbacks and then 1 of the wide receivers. That
I could debate that. Is that a reality? Probably not. But if you can tell me it's like the 2, 3, and the 8, I think that gets done. Like something, because
I'll take Josh Allen, to be honest with you.
We say this a lot, and it's really, really true. Yes, you have to overpay to get studs at times, but you never look back on your team and just like, man, I'm really sad I have Josh Allen.
Right. Yep.
So let's move on to the next quarterback, and that is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is very, very, very good. We are well past the Eagles have the draft capital. They're going to replace him. That very fun of 2 years ago. Jalen Hurts is good. He's one of the top QBs in the league. He's still, to me, a top 3 fantasy QB. And there was everything I hear from Philly people is like there was some locker room stuff going on, and there is very strong belief that Jalen Hurts was hurt. So none of that's confirmed.
Well, he was definitely hurt at the end there. I mean, you see his finger was like,
oh, well,
that was
the first trade we have, 12-team superflex, is Jalen Hurts for Kyler Murray and the 112. Jalen Hurts at 925.7, Kyler Murray 678, the 112 204 for a total of 881.6. This is not enough for me at all.
It's close, but it's not enough.
Yeah, like we are both of the believers that Kyler Murray is very good. We are of the believers that Kyler Murray, when healthy, top 6-ish quarterback.
Can do Jalen Hurtsy kind of things.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm trying to find the trade I offered that had. Okay, so my offer was Jalen Hurts for Kyler Murray, Calvin Ridley, and a 25 first.
So basically add Calvin Ridley to this because I feel like the 25 first and the 112 somewhat cancel out.
Yep. Trying to see what he said when he rejected it. No notes, just very quick reject. And like honestly, I felt like that was one of my fairer offers. I offered Hurts and Keenan Allen for Dak Prescott and Devonta Smith. That made me happy. Like the thought of that made me happy, just because I love getting Devonta Smith on my teams. Every single one got rejected. So,
well, now you have Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but I'll also end up bidding against myself and asking for cheaper things because I have a trading problem. But so, what pick would this take for you to take the Kyler Murray side?
It needs to bump up into that.
Like, are you expecting that 107? Like, you want?
I would like to get into there, but I think I would take one. Like, a lot of people pump up like Rome Odunze. Yeah. I also really like Troy Franklin. So I've been kind of throwing him up there as like, maybe a tier of his own at 1.08, and then 109, and the rest is just kind of needs to be fleshed out from the NFL draft and from the combine and stuff.
Oh yeah, and lots of things are going to change. Yeah,
right. And I also reserve a little bit that I really like Braylon Allen, so I'm hoping that Braylon Allen goes to Dallas or Baltimore in the second round. In which case, then I would probably take him top 10 in a rookie draft. But I mean, the chances of that actually happening are kind of slim, I think. But I think a top 8 pick would probably do it for me to drop down to Kyler.
Yeah. So in the analyzer, to make it even, it would take the 110.
Okay.
But again, it shouldn't be even if you're asking me. So asking for the 108 is very fair in my estimations. Next trade, Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert for Chris Olave, the 102 and the 112. That's interesting. Jalen Hurts, 925.7. Dallas Goedert, 161.9 for a total of 1087.6. Chris Olave, 653. The 102, 619. The 112, 204. Total 1476. Man, I almost want to just like not acknowledge Dallas Goedert in this trade, even though I know that's not really the right way to go about it. But this also goes back to like my DeAndre Swift statement. If I send Jalen Hurts for these 3 things and someone says add Dallas Goedert, I'll just be like, all right.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. He's not a major factor in the meat of this trade. Would you sell Jalen Hurts for potentially Caleb Williams and Chris Olave, or Marvin Harrison and Chris Olave?
I am trying to do my best to avoid saying the phrase, I want a quarterback back, because I know that's not always possible. I know it's not always the way it is, but this also isn't paying. Well, this is, yeah, I mean, it's a little paying the no quarterback tax, but I still think I take Jalen Hurts in this. If we've seen Chris Olave do what you and I believe Chris Olave could do, I think I feel a little better about this. So, yeah, I guess it's really not that far off for me. I think it's just a perception thing. Like, value-wise, I think it's all right. But, just the perception of the fact that it's Chris Olave and not the top quarterback. Like, maybe if you're a huge Drake May or Jaden Daniels believer and you're like, sweet, I'll get the guy I like it too anyway.
Yeah.
Then I would, as working my personal bias into it, feel better about this. But looking at this right now, I don't feel a stinging need to trade away Jalen Hurts for this.
I looked up if you combine the 102 and the 112, and you get roughly 800 points in the analyzer. That is Joe Burrow. Would you trade Hurts for Burrow and Olave?
Yes.
Yes, I would as well too. Pretty easily. Herbert is in that range as well too.
Yeah. I mean, easily. They're for all intents and purposes the same thing to me at this point.
What if it was Kyler? Since we're very much on Kyler today. Kyler and Olave.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't feel as good. I mean, but again, like Olave is worth more than the pick we said it would take to do Kyler in a pick for Jalen Hurts. So, yeah, I guess that means yes. Yes, I would.
Yes, I would as well. I would be looking to buy Jalen Hurts from the people who think that he is potentially going to be replaced in 2025, or that the Eagles offense had major regression issues and stuff like that, and blah blah. I think a lot of what's coming out of Philly is just a very loud, angry minority group of people who feel like that Philly has issues.
Not to understate how big of a deal Jason Kelsey's retirement is, though.
Yes.
Like, that's a very big deal.
Like, yes, it is. But there was other stuff going on. Like Devonta Smith was hurt for a majority of the second half.
No, I don't mean like stuff that I mean going forward. Not having Jason Kelsey as a center is going to be an issue. Like they will need to pay someone to do that very well for them.
Yes, I agree. But I mean, I really have no concerns about Jalen Hurts.
No, me neither.
For the future.
No, like they were on a badly run offense and still kind of crushed it.
This is like, remember like Lamar with Greg Roman a few years ago? Like everybody was like, oh, Lamar is no longer good anymore and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, well, now he's MVP. So,
and now Greg Roman's going to go. Oh, no, that's right. There was rumors of Greg Roman to Chicago, but they hired
Waldron.
Callahan. Was that the Bengals guy?
He went to Tennessee.
Who did they hire again?
Who? Tennessee?
No. Chicago. They hired
Waldron, the Seahawks OC.
Oh, Waldron.
Yeah.
Ugh. So now we're going to move on to CJ Stroud, even though it looks like we're still talking about Jalen Hurts for a little bit. 12-team superflex, CJ Stroud for Jalen Hurts and Davante Adams. Jalen Hurts. No, we're talking about CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, 917.3. Caution, Team B is giving up the highest valued asset and the most pieces in the deal. It's by 8. Jalen Hurts is 925.7 and Davante Adams 299, total of 1224.7. There is 3 years age difference between Hurts and Stroud. 25-year-old quarterback is literally zero to worry about when it comes to age. I guess the only way I can put this into focus for me is I'm worried about Philadelphia. I want to get out on Jalen Hurts. Would I add Davante Adams to make the swap to go get CJ Stroud? And I think the answer is probably. It's the wrong answer, but the answer is probably. Davante Adams is one of those players that, like we talked about with Steph Diggs before, his value is never going to go up again, but he's still probably going to score you a lot of points. And it being January is why I'm not completely crushed on the idea of doing this. I would want late second coming back to me. Like I don't want to just add Adams and get nothing coming back to me. But I don't think it's egregious. If let's pretend this was Trade Addicts 8, that league where I sent, I'm not out on Hurts. I was just bored and trying to spur some action. But let's pretend I really was out on Hurts, and then this got sent to me. I went into the group chat and I said, I sent a bunch of offers involving Hurts. If you didn't get one and you're interested in Hurts, send me something. If I got all of my offers rejected and I saw this in my inbox, I'd sit on it for a little bit. I'm not smashing this no. Again, I would I would say, all right, add in a second, and then they'll come back and say a third, and I'd probably say yes.
Man, I don't know how you add something to Jalen Hurts to get.
It's the wrong answer. It is absolutely the wrong answer, but you have to remember, I'm coming from a mind frame of I want out on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I get that. I think you're wrong. But
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
We spent the past 20 minutes talking about how much we like Jalen Hurts.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm trying to add perspective because I know not everyone has our perspective. Mm-hmm. So again, it's 3 years of age. It's nothing for a 22 to 25-year-old quarterback. Those 3 years mean literally nothing. But the idea of switching to the new hotness in CJ Stroud at the cost of a wide receiver that you probably won't really be able to move anyway on his own. Davante Adams is going to probably need to be a piece of a trade. Why not use that to just get this done? Again, this is more than just like the throw-in. This is not DeAndre Swift. This is not Dallas Goedert. I need something back.
Right.
I would probably settle for a third if I felt the need to do this move, which personally I don't, but I'm trying to speak for another population, I guess. But I get the idea because I think right now, 1-for-1, it might be easier to move CJ Stroud and get more for CJ Stroud than Jalen Hurts by himself, regardless of their actual value. I think the pool of people open to that trade will be higher with CJ Stroud.
That I think I can agree with.
Again, I'm grasping at straws to make this work.
I think all that this shows is that we need to go out and try and buy Jalen Hurts, see what it takes to move up to get him. If you have a Trevor Lawrence or a Dak Prescott or a Brock Purdy or a Jordan Love, see how easy it is to go up and get Jalen Hurts. And this might be the first sign that I don't think CJ Stroud is overvalued because of this trade, but he feels like one of those guys that's just going to be really hard to trade for. Yes. Because of, like you said, the perception around him is just so positive, and rightfully so. He is fantastic, but I'm not ready to crown him into that top tier of quarterbacks. And it's very similar to like why I wasn't putting Trevor Lawrence in that tier with Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson before last offseason, because those guys had multiple years of success, whereas Lawrence, we just saw 1 year. Yeah. Stroud, we just saw 1 year. And I'm not saying that CJ Stroud is not going to continue to have success. I haven't seen the continued sustained success from Stroud like we have from Jalen Hurts now for 2 years in a row, 2.5 years in a row, perhaps. Josh Allen, obviously, since like 2020, and Mahomes since, 2018. So that's why I'm not ready to crown.
Come on.
My bad.
Stop giving him too much credit.
I'm not ready to put Stroud in that conversation yet. So that's why I think it's a little bit outrageous to do this. But
yes,
I guess I could see if you're that out on Hurts.
All right. A lot of players we've talked about in this next trade: CJ Stroud, Travis Etienne, and the 211 for Puka Nacua, Dak Prescott, and the 112. Stroud 917, Travis Etienne 434, the 211 110, not bad, for a total of 1461. Puka 611, Dak Prescott 610, the 112 204, total of 1425. So this coming in as pretty much even. I'm trying to convince myself that a running back being on one side shouldn't sway this for me.
No, I think it definitely does. I mean,
okay, good, because I kind of look, I don't want to do this move. This isn't a move I'm seeking out to do, but I mean, again, Dak is 30. That's not old for a quarterback. I'm not worried at all about Dak's age. So if I can get Dak, Puka, who is now a top 6, 7 wide receiver, and a first, you're getting a full round bump from your pick for CJ Stroud, who again is very, very, very good. He, points per game was in that 21-22 area where we get a lot of quarterbacks, but that's also including one game when he got hurt. He only put up 4.5 points in one game. So it might bump up if he played a full game for like another point, but still. And not to say he can't get better and all of that, but if CJ Stroud and Dak Prescott scored insanely similarly for the next 2 years, would you be surprised?
Nope.
Exactly. And while, of course, CJ Stroud will always be worth more than Dak Prescott, even if Dak Prescott outscores CJ Stroud will probably be worth more for the rest of their careers. Again, this isn't something I'm seeking out to do, but if I get this in my inbox, I'm texting everyone. I'm like, I feel like I should do this, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I should do this.
I think you should do this. This feels like one of those deals. Like I just made a video that went out a couple days ago of trading down, at positions to gain extra draft capital or assets in some way. And now Stroud and Dak are the only similarity really is between the production that they kind of give and maybe some little bit of the situation. Like you are losing a lot in terms of age, like 8 years, even at quarterback, like that is a substantial difference. But like you said, like the production is going to be relatively similar for the next 2 to 3 years. And you're getting a big time upgrade going from a running back to a wide receiver, an elite wide receiver, and you're getting a full round upgrade in that draft pick as well too. Like you're getting pretty substantial upgrades by just losing 8 years of age at quarterback.
Yeah.
I think you got to make this deal. I think I would take Puka, Dak in the first on this one.
Is there a way you see going in the other direction?
Yeah, CJ Stroud is the clear-cut best asset in this deal, and Travis Etienne is still a top 5 dynasty running back, and the 112 and 212 are not a wash, but I mean the 112 could be in a massive tier with going into like well into the second round as well too. Yeah, it could that player could be, you know, like this past year that pick was maybe like Kendra Miller, you know.
Yeah.
Like
that's not great feeling. That's
where that is. Yeah. So and if you just want, you're like, you know what? I want CJ Stroud. I want the young quarterback that's going to anchor my team for the next decade. I'm losing out on Puka, but I'm still getting a top 5 dynasty running back and fantasy running back as well too. Like, I think that's still a solid argument for the opposite side.
Scroll. Nothing. Well, that appears to be it for the DLF trade. I'm like, I can't even speak. I'm so upset that we're done talking.
Until next week.
This has been the DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel. Russ Fisher, Dynasty Outhouse, Addison Hayes, Adam Hayes, Hayes _. We'll catch you next time.